Okay, folks. So I've got 6:30, so we'll go ahead and get started because I do have a Hawkeye women's basketball game to watch before too long, so we'll get going here. Hi, my name is Mr. Probst. I am the seventh grade band director. You'll see on the screen there our staff at North Scott Junior High. Miss Ashley Noblo is the eighth grade band director, and she's joining us on this call. And then we have uh, a staff member who teaches lessons with us, Miss Vanessa Levitt. She's not on the call tonight, but it's very likely that your student will have her as part of our band program next year as she teaches lessons with us. And then on the call tonight, we also have Matt Hartman. He's here representing West Music Company, and he will get on in a little bit here to talk to you more about how to rent an instrument through West Music. If you have any questions, everybody should be muted, but if you have questions throughout the presentation, feel free to type them into the chat box, and we will try to address those as the meeting goes. Or you can always email us. Our email addresses are at the bottom of the screen there. Feel free to email us if you want to contact us. You think of something after the meeting is over or whatever. Okay, so I'm going to hand it over to Ashley to get us started on band instruments.
So just to give a little bit of an overview as to what instruments are a part of the band, and this is something that your students learned leading up to our visits to the elementary schools as well. In the band, we split our instruments into three sections: the woodwinds, the brass, and the percussion. So woodwinds includes flute, oboe, bassoon, clarinet, and the saxophone family. And then brass would be horn, trumpet, trombone, euphonium, and tuba. And then percussion, when we start in seventh grade band, they mostly focus on snare drum and xylophone, bells, marimba, what we call the keyboard instruments. So those are the percussion instruments. And your students were encouraged to try woodwind and brass instruments when we visited their school.
So we went out to the elementary schools during the week of February 5th. You probably heard all about it because the kids really had a good time and were super duper excited at the end of the day. Everybody got to try, like Ms. Noblo said, multiple instruments to see which one really fit them the best. Everybody's body is different, their hands are different, their mouths are different, and sometimes different instruments fit better for some students. So they got to try multiple instruments to see which one really fit them the best. We recommended an instrument to them and wrote that on this sheet of paper that they brought home. Hopefully you saw that piece of paper. Hopefully it made it out of the backpack and into your hands. Of what we suggested was their best fit as an instrument for them. But what really is the most important factor when you are thinking of what instrument your student should play is really it's what instrument did they like the best, because there's no real secret to it. It's just all about practice. And as long as the student is enjoying the instrument that they choose, they are spending time practicing it, they're going to get good at it. So yes, some instruments fit better for students than others, but when it comes right down to it, what matters most is what instrument they like the most, which instrument they're actually going to spend time working and practicing on. However, when we're looking at, oh wait, sorry, Ashley, was this yours?
No, this is
No,
you.
I'm doing this one. I'm doing this one. Sorry, we're trying to flip flop slides here, so not one of us does too much talking. When we're looking at instrumentation of the band, we do need to make sure we have some balance of instruments. We often think of our band instrumentation as a cake. We are all ingredients in the same cake, but we have to have the right balance of ingredients. If you have a cake with too much salt and not enough sugar, it's not a very good cake. So what we're looking for when we're looking for ideal instrumentation is 12 flutes, 3 oboes, 24 clarinets, 3 bassoons, 8 altos, 2 tenor saxophones, 8 French horns, 12 trumpets, 12 trombones, 4 euphoniums, 4 tubas, 6 percussion. Now again, that is like our absolute dream instrumentation. If we don't hit that exactly, it's totally fine. We don't have any hard cutoffs for instruments. Again, the most important thing is, does your student enjoy playing that instrument? if they do, they'll practice and be successful. However, I do want to say that if every kid picked the instrument that they mentioned was their favorite when we came around that week of February 5th, we currently have a lot of students signed up for alto and tenor saxophone, like 12 students who are interested in alto saxophone, and we only really are looking for about 8, and 7 students who were interested in tenor saxophone, and we only had 5 students who were interested in flute. We would really like to have around 12. Only a couple of folks who are interested in oboe, bassoon, and French horn. So again, I can't say this is enough times. We want the kids to play what instrument is going to make them happy. But if you've got a student who's at home and they're kind of on the fence, like, oh, should I do alto saxophone? Should I do flute? I could really use some more flutes. Okay, so just put that out there. So we do want to make sure that we have a well-balanced take so that our band sounds good.
So one thing we want to mention to it is we've heard that some of you did not receive the email with the link to the meeting tonight, or maybe you received an email with a link to a meeting for a class that you didn't sign up for, and we understand that mistakes happen there. So we just want to make sure that you double check your schedules for your students and that they have band on their schedule. But also we just want to make sure you know it's not too late. If someone has changed their mind, or you were talking to a friend and you said, oh, you were going to join band, and the friend said, oh, I wanted to do something else, it's not too late to sign up for band. So if you need to add band to your schedule because either a mistake was made or there was a change in heart, contact Ms. Woods in the junior high main office, or talk to one of the school counselors that's assigned for 7th grade, and they can still make sure the band is on your schedule. So once band is on your schedule and you've received some communications from Mr. Probst regarding the beginning of 7th grade band, the general way that we start this is we like to get our students started with a few lessons before school starts. So when they show up to that first day of school, not only are they feeling comfortable with how band is going to work, but they're also feeling comfortable with the process of bringing your instrument to school, where it's going to be stored during the school day, and sort of the processes that we'll go through in terms of the routine of just being in band. That being said, next year is going to be a little bit of an exciting time because we are getting a brand new band room built at the junior high, and we're not sure what the construction timeline is going to look like for sure. So we'll have to be pretty flexible next year as far as where our instruments are going to be stored and things like that. But the general schedule for summer band, we will have a super lesson on August 5th. That's where we invite professionals on their instruments, music educators from the area, to teach our students how to put your instrument together, how to clean and maintain your instrument, how to get a good beginning sound on the instruments, maybe learn the first 3 notes or so. And that's on August 5th. Then students have the opportunity to have 2 lessons before school starts. And these will be in small groups, matched by instruments. We have lessons on August 6th and 8th, and those will happen at the junior high. Generally speaking, those would be students who have attended Ed White, Alan Shepard, and Neil Armstrong will have their lessons at the junior high. And then we also have the same lessons at Glenn and Grissom on August 7th and 9th. Again, tends to be the students that go to Glenn or Grissom, but as you're registering for what instrument you're going to play, if you live in Donahue but go to Alan Shepard, you can request to have your lessons at those elementary schools as well. And then August 12th, we have a day at the junior high where we do sectionals. So all of the students who play flute, no matter what elementary school you did your summer lessons at, all of the flutes would have a lesson together. All of the clarinets would have a lesson together. So that's so you're just kind of slowly getting to know more and more students that play the same instrument, and then just kind of getting some more of those routines. I like the summer sectionals on the August 12th a lot because we often give you time to go find your locker at the junior high, and that doesn't happen for non-band students until closer to the beginning of school. We can help you open your locker, give you a little tour of, you know, where your classrooms might be. So that's one of my favorite days for summer band too, because it's not just about playing your instrument, but kind of getting eased into the idea of being a seventh grader.
Once the school year starts, and again, the the construction schedule might totally throw all this for a loop, but if it's going as planned, once the school year starts, seventh grade band meets either third or sixth period, depending on where it fits in your student's schedule and the other classes that they have. And then they will have regular small group lessons during the school day. Once every 6 school days or thereabouts, with other students who play the same instrument as them. Those are usually in groups of 2 to 4 students, depending on the instrument group. We have performances throughout the year, and these usually 1 to 2 performances per quarter that are outside of the school day. And these performances are part of our grades. They are essentially our tests. We've been learning all quarter music that we're performing, and then the performance is our chance to show off our learning to you, family and friends. So we don't have exact dates yet. Exact dates will be decided once we get closer to the end of the school year, looking ahead to next year's calendar. But we typically have a fall concert in October, a winter concert in December, what we call our band showcase concert, which is a big concert 7th through 12th grade, where all of the band students come together in the whole program, which is actually just happening this weekend for us. But then that'll be March 2025 for your students, a solo festival at the end of March, and then a May spring concert. And again, this will all be decided once we get working on next year's schedule at the end of this school year. We will send all of this home in an upcoming email. You don't have to be furiously writing into your family calendar right now.
So a question we often get from parents when they're registering their student for band is, well, I was never in band. I'm not a musician. I don't know anything about music. How do I help my student? Some tips that we like to give parents is on this slide here. Be prepared for unusual sounds. Back in when I worked with a previous colleague, she always called it pre-music, the sounds that happen before the music is created. That is your student making unusual sounds, the things that make the dog bark and so on. But encouraging your student just to play often at home, to practice, setting up an area in the house that is dedicated to playing their music, always having a music stand set up in a corner of their bedroom, asking your student to hear what they're working on, even if you don't recognize it. Just think that's the best version of that song I've ever heard, and encouraging them to play not only on their own, but in front of an audience as well. And the biggest one is number 3 here: embrace the struggle and don't let your student give up. We often reach a time, I feel like it's a couple times a year, around October, November, and then around March, April, that students hit the roadblocks of when it's not easy anymore and they have to put in a little effort and a little work to get past those roadblocks of new learning. And just encouraging your student to stick with it, push through. They're not gonna enjoy it if they're not getting better, and they're not gonna get better if they're not putting in the work. So just like any new skill, these things take practice. Just encouraging them not to get frustrated with it or get discouraged. And then there's a really interesting graphic on the side of the screen there about the number of minutes of practice. We don't necessarily require a certain number of minutes. We don't require practice logs, but just any amount of time practicing at home. We like to shoot for 20 minutes, 5 days a week. That really adds up over time and is just going to give your students, the skills to improve at a greater rate.
So you're probably wondering how to go about getting an instrument. That's one of the big questions when it comes to joining band. Um, the number one recommendation is always to rent or purchase through a reputable music store or music dealer, which we happen to have West Music in the area, a wonderful store full of very knowledgeable staff, and Matt will tell you more about their program later. Um, we always encourage people to be aware of online superstores, misspelled name brands, colors that are not brass or silver, or deals that just seem too good to be true. You really do get what you pay for. Sometimes these instruments do seem like they're a little bit expensive, but a high quality instrument, if it's well cared for, will last a long time. Just to give you an idea, my tuba, granted, this was a high quality instrument because tuba is my main instrument, but I bought that tuba in 1999 and it's still going strong, however many years later that is. The trumpet that I use on a daily basis is my sister's trumpet when she started in band in 1989. And the trombone that I play on daily was actually manufactured in 1980. So if they are well built, good quality instruments, they will last. Okay, but just watch out for deals that are too good to be true because you really will get what you pay for. If you are using an old instrument, like I said, old doesn't mean bad. That trombone is almost as old as I am, but you really should have it checked out and cleaned at the music store. If it has been in the attic or a closet for a while, if it's a woodwind instrument, some of the pads might have dried out and might need to be fixed. The valves might be stuck on the old trumpets that's been sitting in the closet for 20 years. So it should, have it taken to the music store to get cleaned. Be aware that sometimes, depending on the state of care that the instrument was in before, it might cost more than you expect to fix up an old instrument from the closet. But not that they can't be used. Just make sure that you're aware that there's going to probably be some repair and upkeep on that. Some of the larger instruments, tuba and bassoon, since those are more expensive instruments, they don't usually get rented through the music store. So we have an inventory of those at school. And if your student has chosen tuba or bassoon, you would rent that through the school. And if you're one of those families, I would get you more information about that at a later time. You need to have an instrument by August for that, for the start of our summer lessons, but you do not need to rush out and get one now. Certainly you can start looking, but we're not in a huge scramble to get an instrument at this moment. In fact, if you rent an instrument through West Music, it won't even be delivered to the school until August. However, that said, it is helpful to reserve your instrument now. Every year we have families who wait until the very last minute to get an instrument before those summer classes start. And that, the later you wait, the more of a strain it puts on the music store to fill those orders. And sometimes we have things coming in at like literally the very last minute. So yes, you do not need to have it this very minute, but it's always helpful to get your name on the list early so that we're not rushed to get an instrument on that very last day before classes or before summer lessons start.
So we do have some instrument brands that are recommended. I'm not going to read this whole slide to you. But if you do find that instrument in the attic, or a neighbor says, hey, I have a saxophone that we haven't used, or anything like that you find, a good deal at a garage sale, these are the brands that we recommend. So if you do have one laying around, an old instrument from a family member or so on, you can bring one of these into us and we can look it over and confirm if it's a reputable instrument, a good brand of instrument. And then of course we would always recommend you take it in to the store to get sort of a cleaning and making sure that it's a good working order. But when you do rent through West Music, these are the types of instruments that you would be renting from them. So if you are looking around, and you see some of these brand names, that's a good direction to go when you're looking at what instrument to get.
And as it says at the bottom there, we will send all this information home in an email, so you can put down the pencil and the notepad and just enjoy the show. This will all come out in an email probably next week. There are a few additional things that you will need. First of all, they need to have a lesson book, but that lesson book is provided by the school district, so you don't need to worry about that. They will need a 1-inch 3-ring binder with a clear cover pocket. We end up handing out a lot of loose sheets of music, and so we like our students to have these 1-inch binders. And if it has that little clear pocket on the front cover, we make a nice cover sheet for everybody's binder that has our big band logo on it right there, plus their name and their instruments and all that kind of stuff. And they just slide that right in the front cover, and it holds all their stuff very nicely. They will also need some of these plastic page protectors, so they can slip all of their music into those page protectors into their binders. So you can get those. We ask that they have a music stand, so they have a good place to practice at home. A wire music stand like this will do just fine. It's not required, but it's very, very recommended and helpful for students to have a metronome/tuner to help them tune their instrument and keep the beat. And then woodwinds would need, if your student is a clarinet or saxophone, a box of these Van Doren reeds, and a reed case that looks like this to keep, so the ends of the reeds are very, very thin. And so this reed case helps keep those reeds protected so that they don't chip and they don't have to be replaced as often. And then a mouthpiece patch like this, which just makes the top of their mouthpiece a little bit softer, a little more comfortable to put their teeth on. Brass students, if you're a trumpet or euphonium, would need a bottle of valve oil. If you're a trombone player, you would need a bottle of slide oil. And if you're a French horn player, a bottle of this rotor valve oil. And again, we're going to send all this home in an email, so you don't have to be furiously writing notes. Just be aware there is some equipment that we do need students to have. Okay, so now we're going to hand it over to Matt from West Music, and he's going to talk to you a little bit about their rental program.
Yeah, so you guys are really lucky to have directors like Mr. Probst and Ms. Noblo. They do an excellent job getting their students to be excited about music and really retain their students all the way through their program. So I can't be more excited for you guys. And so West Music, we are now located down on Brady Street, right near off the Kimberly Junction, right there. So if you want to come visit us, you come on down. We'll have you guys. The reason why I'm here today is because, like Mr. Probst had said, we are the recommended person to get an instrument through, whether that is purchase or rent. We do have some used options as well. You can find all of this at the website that Mr. Probst is on right now, which is rent.westmusic.com. Our rental program is a 36-month rent-to-own program currently. We are changing that to a 48-month rent-to-own program. So being that you guys are on the cusp, you will have the option to either be a 36 or a 48 if you rent right now. If you wait till like the middle of the summer, it'll probably be all transitioned to a 48-month contract, which does change the pricing per month a little bit, but I don't have all of those details yet. And being that we're doing this so far out from when you guys need an instrument, some things may change. So just know that. But what won't change is the fact that everything you need is on this website, including some of those items that Mr. Probst had mentioned. The first month, which if you did this today, all you would be charged is $44.95. And what that does is reserve your instrument for August. The next payment will not come out until September 5th, 2024. So if you pay your $44.95, you're guaranteed an instrument. We're going to store it at the store and just get it out to you guys August 1st. Okay, so that it's ready for your super lesson on August 5th. I would highly recommend just getting the first payment done as soon as possible, because then you will forget about this, and then Mr. Probst will send you like 17 emails. So I know that he's good for that. So
Yeah,
just be
Mr.
ready.
Probst is going to send you 17 emails anyway. I like to send emails.
But all right, so yes, you would just type in on the website North Scott Junior High, select the instrument that your child is going to play, and then there are several different options inside of each instrument. So we rent instruments at the Yamaha level, premium level, and certified pre-owned level. The Yamaha level is a new Yamaha instrument. The premium level is a new Jupiter or Accent instrument, and the certified pre-owned is an instrument that has been through the rental process, usually has some type of cosmetic wear to it, and it is limited stock. So you will notice sometimes we don't have certified pre-owned for every instrument. This website is active inventory, so as things get processed through our repair shop, availability will change as well. We do sell used instruments, but we do not rent them. Inside of that $44.95, what you get is you get your instrument, the care kit for that instrument, the book for school. Even though North Scott does provide the book, you get another book because you can then keep one at home and one at school. And if you lose one of them, you always have a backup. And then the third thing you get is a music stand. Out of those three things, all of them are needed for the program. And then on top of that, those accessories are listed as add-ons inside of each one of these tabs that you can leave clicked or decide that you do not want them, but they're the suggested items that your teachers want. With that said, I think I've gone through it. Is Mr. Probst, have I missed anything?
Mm-hmm. No, I don't think so. Miss Noble,
Okay.
let's see.
I think we're all good. I know that Mr. Probst or Ms. Noble will share my contact info with you guys. Feel free to contact me at any time. Email is the best form of communication. And sometimes if you're contacting with the directors, they'll just tag me in anyway, and I'll help facilitate stuff at the store. But if you have any other questions, just feel free to reach out. That's the whole spiel.
Actually, Matt, did you want to put some of your contact info into the chat? I think in past meetings you had done that.
I can do that, but I can also say this. We have a full functioning repair shop. So if you have an instrument that's in your house or family member, you can either A, take it down to the store. Make sure that you do that before the summer, because I come around to all the schools, or give yourself very, very adequate amount of time, because I come around to all the schools at the end of the year and I get all of the school instruments. So our shop gets inundated with a whole bunch of school repairs starting at the beginning of June. So the earlier you can get us an instrument, the easier it will be for us to hit that August 1 deadline, so that you have it for your super lesson. In the past, if you do wait longer than that, I have been able most times to provide loaner instruments, so that your student isn't without an instrument. But it really would help us if you could, the earlier you can bring in the instrument, the better that's going to be. And yeah, you can either A, bring it to us, or B, leave it with Mr. Probst or Miss Noblo. I see everybody. I see the North Scott teachers on Thursdays. So if you leave it with them, I can come out, I'll pick it up, take it, we'll give you a quote, and then you can decide that you would like to have it repaired or not have it repaired, and then I can deliver it straight back to the school so you don't have to make the 10-15 minute drive. I know some of you guys that are in like Princeton areas like that, it's more like a 25-30 minute drive, but you don't have to make that drive if you don't absolutely want to. So that's everything.
And Matt, if they rent through the music store, there is a repair policy. Is that right? As part of the rental process?
Yes, if you're renting through the through West Music, you're covered underneath the service protection plan for the entire 36 months or the entire time that you're renting the instrument. So if the instrument's dropped, we take care of it at no extra cost than what your monthly rental cost is.
Somebody asked in the chat, you can do all the instrument reservation online, correct? They do not need to come into the music store in person.
100% correct, and then you'll get an email confirmation that it went through.
Awesome. Okay, so if you do have any questions, feel free to drop them into the chat, and we can answer whatever questions pop up in there. Somebody was asking about financial help. Yes, we do have some financial assistance through the school. If you want to email me directly about that, I can get back to you with more information about that. So a lot of this stuff, there was a lot of information here. I'm going to send an email honestly, probably next week, because we do have a concert coming up this weekend. It's going to be a little hectic around school for the next couple of days. So I will send an email in the next few days with the details from this meeting, those lists of recommended instruments, some of those extra supplies, plus a link to a Google form where you would then officially indicate your student's choice of instrument. So right now, when we were out at the schools on February 5th or that week, students told me as they were leaving, like, oh, I think I really liked the flute. But, maybe they've changed their minds since then. And that's okay. They can change their mind. Whatever they told me in that first week of February, they don't have to stick with that. If they have changed their mind, that's fine. But once you put it into that Google form, then that's sort of going to be the official instrumentation that we start to build all of our lesson rotations and seating charts and things like that off of. So I'll send out an email next week with this meeting details plus a link to that Google form to officially indicate your student's choice of instrument. And then we would also ask at that time your location for preference for summer lessons. Again, like Ms. Noblo was saying, we offer lessons at the junior high for those folks who are closer to the junior high, or out at Glenn and Grissom for those folks who are on those edges of the district. But again, you don't have to choose those schools just because that's where you went to elementary school. If, for instance, if you've got a student who's taking, I don't know, making stuff up here, swim lessons at the Y or something, and you're in Eldridge for that, and you want to have your student take lessons at the junior high, that's totally fine. It really doesn't make one bit of difference to us where they have their lessons. It's really just what's most convenient for you. So if there are any other questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. Otherwise, you can always email us. Our email addresses are on the screen there. Or you can check out our band website, bit.ly/NSJH band, and we have other videos about all of the instruments if you want to hear the instruments again, or just an overview of what to expect for band at the junior high. So we'll give some folks a chance to type into the chat. Otherwise, that is all we have for our presentation. You're very welcome. Thanks for joining us. Somebody just said thank you in the chat. Yeah, if you don't have any questions, feel free to log off and go watch that Hawkeye basketball game, which is what I'm going to do. But yeah, we'll stay on for a few more minutes for anybody who does have questions. Yeah, let's see, the website for West Music is, oh, there we go. Miss Noblo got it. rent.westmusic.com. And Matt also shared a link in there as well. So there's the website. Fast fingers over there. I didn't even have a chance to start typing. Yes, you're welcome. Thank you. Thinking trumpet or euphonium. Do we have a preference on those instruments? Honestly, not really. I guess I would maybe lean a little bit more towards trumpet personally. Trumpet is an important melodic instrument. It's always good to have people who are playing the melody. But again, it's really just up to what your son likes the most. If they like high notes, high voices, that's trumpet. If they like low sounds, bass lines, that would be the role of the euphonium. So I really don't have much of a preference on that. West Music website says items are required. I mean, some of them are. Oh, for percussion. Ms. Noblo, do you want to talk about what's required for percussion students?
So for percussion students, we do require them to rent a percussion kit, which would include a practice pad and a bells keyboard, like a little mini xylophone, and then also a stick and mallet bag. And I believe that's like a pre-packaged bag that has a pair of drumsticks, a pair of hard mallets, a pair of yarn mallets, and a pair of timpani mallets when they get around to playing for that. So the mallet bag is required, and then the percussion kit is required. So they have something to actually practice on at home. The tuner would not be required for percussion, and those are honestly just recommended for everyone. A metronome is definitely recommended. Again, not required, but recommended for percussionists, especially since they're in charge of keeping the beat.
And I think the thing that's on the website is a 2-in-1 metronome and tuner.
Yeah.
So yeah, it might be listed as tuner, but it also doubles as a metronome.
And I think you can opt out of it. You can unclick the check mark on the website.
Practicing our teacher wait time here. We give a few more. Oh, there we go. All right, time to get ready for the game. Go Hawks. Yes, indeed. Go Hawks. We'll give a few more seconds for any last minute questions. How many students have signed up for oboe? Actually, right now, I only have one. I would love to have 2 or 3. So if you've got a friend who wants to join you.
Ooh.
Rental fees are a tax deduction. Matt, you didn't tell us that.
I don't think I actually knew that. So good.
Holy cow. I had no
Leslie
idea about
Tooley
that.
coming in clutch there. That's great.
Huh. Well,
Let's put that in the presentation for next year.
yeah. I think I've got like 30 years of back taxes coming to me. Huh.
That's great.
I did not know that. Okay. Well, gonna do my slow wrap up here. Once again, emails are on the screen. Okay, feel free to reach out to us anytime you have any questions about band. Check out our website, watch those videos of other instruments, see a good overview of band at North Scott Junior High. And I think unless I see another question pop up in the chat, I think we're going to go ahead and call it a night. So thanks everybody for joining us. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to meeting all of you in August and having you as part of the band program next year. All right. Thanks everybody. Good night.
Bye.
Go Hawks.
Make sure you stop the recording.